It starts with this, a person that you miss. Mine draws a blank. I wanna go back to the early days when life was an escape. Now I just wait for better days. I lost myself in your reality. Lost myself. I lost myself in your reality. Lost myself. I feel that life, according to a friend, we're all shrink wrapped in families and making ends meet, stuck in jobs we'll never leave. I never wanna be like that, so I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. Didn't mean to sound so concerning. Am I alone in the hurt? I never followed anyone. It's so absurd. I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. Trying to go back. Gotta go back. Gotta go back.
Gotta go back. Yeah. Oh, push the button. Did I push the button this time? I did. What's up, nerds? What is up, fellow nerds? What are you doing? What's up, fellow nerds? It's Monday. We're going to turn the microphone upside down. We're going up top. We're going up top with the microphone today. Oh my god, we got to go up top with the microphone. What's up, everybody? Okay, I hate this. I hate this because I have to see things with my eyes. Oh my god. Loosen. There we go. Well, it's Monday, so naturally I'm going to mess with the microphone arm thing a lot. You know, the other day... What was that? That's something... that was weird. The other day I was looking for a new microphone arm solution. And they're ridiculously expensive, so I don't think we're going to be going that route. Nabokov fan says, just a reminder, if you're waiting on the book from the co-op from George Farmer is now listed for non-members. I think it's Oliver Knott is the book. Is that right? Let's look. Aquarium co-op book. Let's see. Oh, yikes! I'm on the forum. I don't want to be on the forum. I don't navigate the forum, guys. Guys, I don't navigate the forum. It's way too. It's intense. Aquarium coop.com. Let's run over there. Let's look real quick. Book about shop. Members only items, merch, gift cards, gifts and gear, aquarium. I don't look at our website. I don't look at the website either. Apparently, I'm looking at it now. Help club, about shop, gifts and gear. Maybe, I would guess. Yep, Training Days in Japan by Oliver Knott. That seems to be the book, right? That's the only book. Is there a George Farmer book? Loading. Loading stickers. Oh, stickers. My favorite thing is stickers, guys. I hope you guys know that. I got an awesome sticker this weekend. Not related to Aquarium Co-op. Unrelated. But the book is Training Days in Japan by Oliver Knott. And they are signed. There's only a limited amount. I can verify that is only a limited amount. This is not a sponsored link. I do not get any money for any of this, but if you are looking for that book, it is over on Aquarium Co-op. There's the link for it in case you don't like doing the Google search thing that I just did myself during a live stream. Yeah, it's a great book. I've flipped through it a couple of times on my lunch break. I have a copy reserved for me because, as you guys know, I'm a book nerd and I like nerd book stuff. Although most books nowadays, I get the digital version or the audio copy or the whatever because I got to do a hands-free run around, do the whole rigmarole. I don't ever have really time to sit down and crack the book, which is why I'm keeping my copy at work. Because boy howdy, lunch break a good time to do a little flip-a-rooney. Do a little book-a-rooney. Let me read a couple pages here while I eat my noodle-roni or whatever a rooney flavored thing I happen to be eating that day. Maybe it's a Stroganoff-a-roni. There we go. To be introduced sooner than later. Although I think George Farmer has a book, I have not looked at that book, so I don't know if it's any good or not. I can't give you a yay or a nay. I don't know. No non-opinion on the George Farmer book. I didn't buy it, to be clear. So I haven't looked through it. Yeah, I don't have that one. But the Oliver Knott one is quite good, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I think, what was it, like? It's like $70 or something, but it's all color, fancy pages, fancy book, signed by Oliver. So I think that's in the price range there. Simon Bias says, have a nice stream. We'll be listening on the replay tomorrow. You know what that means? That means it's business time, baby. Simon Bias brought us up to business. We got to talk business time right here at the beginning of the stream. If you aren't a member of the Corvus Oskin channel, become a member today. Do it immediately. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Become a member immediately. Do it or regret life decisions. That's how it goes. We're up to 70 members now. We need to get to about a couple thousand more members before we can really do some big projects. So we need more. And if you guys want me to do big projects, then we need to get more members. That's just a fact. Patronizers, you could become a patron. If you are on Replay Team 6, you are obligated morally, ethically, legally to leave a comment down below the video that you are Replay Team 6, preferably with some kind of emoji. Get creative with the emoji madness because I'm always interested to see what kind of emojis people are coming up with these days. It's just that it seems like an endless sea of emoji madness, which means we are headed directly to what happened to the Egyptians because we're going straight back to hieroglyphics. So I look forward to the pyramid future, which we'll all be living in, right? People say YouTube memberships are like a pyramid scheme. It's not like a pyramid scheme. It's more like, I guess if it's a pyramid, that's me at the top and then you guys down at the bottom. So maybe it's technically pyramid shaped, but it's not really a scheme. You guys can help fund the projects around here of filming stuff, editing, making YouTube content, doing all the crazy nonsense we're constantly doing around here. So we're going to keep doing it. And I'm going to keep working on the new fish room, which means a lot of new video projects on the way. I'm currently editing a whole bunch of videos that seem to be shitty. So, you know, what really boils down to is if you have a bunch of terrible content that you're trying to make, it's really just going to take time. I mean, that's the thing. And as they say, time is money. Time is money. Who said that?
It's a proverb? Oh my God, it's a proverb. Time is money is an aphorism that is claimed to have originated in the advice to a young tradesman in an essay by Benjamin Franklin that appeared in George Fisher's 1748 book, The American Instructor, or Young Man's Best Companion, in which Franklin wrote, "Remember that time is money." So Benjamin Franklin apparently was the guy. Although, who knows, I doubt that he came up with it on his own. He probably just stole it from somebody, realistically. Let's look it up. Was Benjamin Franklin a thief? Let's look. Benjamin Franklin was also a petty criminal, including theft, criminal damage, and psychological torture of inbred natives. There's no denying that he was a most remarkable, multi-talented man with universal comprehensive interests and wide-ranging experience. Yeah. I remember reading about this a long time ago. That's why I was like, wait a minute, wasn't he a thief? Yeah. But, amazing guy, but also kind of criminal. Do it anyway. Abortive attempts, baby. Fake it till you make it. Ben Franklin did. He did all this before he was 16. Yeah. Here we go. Here's Ben's strategy. Make some short notes on each sentence paragraph in the essay you admire. Set your notes to the side for a few days. Looking only at your notes, recreate the essay from scratch, trying to express the sentiments in your notes. Check your work against the original. Where you failed, figure out why to fix it. Yeah, that was one of the things that he did throughout his life was fake it till you make it, baby, which, by the way, that's Alcoholics Anonymous stole that. Fake it till you make it. That's in there. So there's a lot of stealing going on. There's a little stealing going on in the world, but hey, if you got a good idea, someone's going to steal it. That's how that works. So you just be good, do the best you can, and if you're not a YouTube member, you become a YouTube member. That's how that works, right? I believe that's how that works. Okay, let's scroll up the chat here and say hi to everybody, because I don't know if that was a commercial to support the channel, but I guess maybe in a weird, long, roundabout way. That might be what that was. Franklin Dominguez with a thumbs up and 3 winky eye, tongue hanging out, smiley face emojis. What are those called? Let's look at what they're called. Oh, you used to be able to hover over and get the name of the emoji. Guess you can't do that anymore. Guys, they took away the hover feature. I don't know what that means, but they took it away. Joel G with a hello, my guy. What are you doing, my guy? Linda Worth, Aubrey, howdy peeps. Alyssa Bentley, oh, hello. I'm glad I came in to get lunch. Oh, you got to get lunch. Everybody's got to get lunch. Lunch is great. I had an egg sandwich today for lunch. That's what I had. Pauline's Aquarium says, hi, everyone. Zipgun says hello. Rosie says hello. Okay, suspicious. People saying hello. There's a lot of people saying hello, and that's fine. Creedmoor Aquatics, Guppy Girl. They both say hello. Where my plant people at? That's a good point. That's a very good point. Simon Bai says hello and then left, but told us that they were going to come back and watch the replay. So there you go. Fishham Link says hi, Nabo. Says just a reminder if you want in the book. That's right. We talked about the book. We got that out of the way. If you are employed, but if you are employed by Aquarium Co-op, it's like if I mention you could go today and get rainbow shiners at Sierra Fish and Pets, that's almost sponsored. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it is, but either way, I'm not hiding the fact that I work for Aquarium Co-op. I mean, I leave the sponsored tag turned on the live stream. I don't even turn it off, so I just leave that on all the time. Just a gentle nudge. Please hit the thumbs up for Joel. That's me. Hey, hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up for your boy over here. I just realized that I got a haircut today, so before I'm going to preemptively strike before anybody tells me nice haircut. It had been too long. The holiday screwed up my haircutting schedule, and it had been too long. So it feels good to have it cut again and not feeling all shaggy. So, appreciate it. I'm very thankful his tail is actually okay. Oh, update on the tanks. Okay, Nabokov, we got to get into this. Update on my tanks. Filter's clean, but the skimmer on the tidal loves to eat plants. Also, the swordtail male is finally starting to regrow his sword. Poor guy is still timid. Watched him eat today. Very thankful his tail is actually okay, minus the sword. I was really worried. Yeah, those skimmers have a they definitely have a tendency to get clogged up, which is why I don't use skimmers personally. A lot of stuff gets pulled into them. They have a tendency to get clogged up. They're very close to the light, so they get a bunch of algae growing on them. Those are the downsides and why I don't use them. So, what was that weird sound? Okay, I don't know. I heard a weird sound. Spooky weird sound. Maybe there's a ghost. If there is a ghost, well, if there is a ghost, they should come out during a live stream. I think that's a rule, right? Because we'll be able to clip it. We'll be able to clip me being attacked by a ghost. So let's not worry too much about it, right? What was I talking about? Skimmers. Oh yeah, those are the reasons I don't use them. I get why people use them. They definitely don't want that protein buildup and stuff like that on the top of the water, or maybe they're trying to get duckweed out. Whatever your reasoning is behind it, I get it. And is that? It might be my nose. Weird. I think there's like a whistling noise in my nose when I breathe. That might be what's happening. I don't know. Weird vibes, guys. I keep hearing that weird noise. And I think it's related to my breathing, which is not good. I could be dying. If I do die, clip it, throw it up on YouTube, okay? Yeah, throw the clip up. Clip it and ship it, as they say. But yeah, those are the downsides why I don't use the skimmer. I don't like cleaning extra equipment. I'd rather just do some netting, possibly increase some surface agitation, move some things around, and then I'll get rid of that protein film and stuff. Lower my feeding, all those things. All those things seem like less work to me. So I try to have a tendency to go the hey, what's the easier way to do this that I don't have to mess with it? Fish Fam Link says, give a thumbs up to show you're having fun. Are you supposed to? Do you throw a thumbs up when you feel like you're having fun? Is that what goes on? I mean, I've seen people do it, so I'm not sure. I'm not the guy, but I've seen other people do it, and you might be one of those people that thumbs up when you're having fun. What's up with his heart? Whose heart? Somebody's heart? What? Whose heart? Did somebody... Joel G, I'm confused. What's up with his heart? Whose heart? I don't know what you're talking about. You got me confused, bro. You got me confused right now. Preston John was here. Oh, man. Speaking of Preston John being in the chat, good point. Should talk about the Arizona trip a little bit. Last week, the kids interrupted the live stream. So I don't even know what we recounted. I don't know what happened. It was Memorial Day. Everyone's schedule was completely thrown off. Olivia was here, and clearly she was like, you know what? I'm not going to let Dad do other stuff. So she was like, basically, I need my dad, and I want to be around my dad. So that's what was happening. And it was like, you know what? I'm just going to sign off here and go hang out with my daughter, right? Because it was like, there's not much we can do. It's not much we can do with a 4-year-old that wants to hang out with her dad. And it was a holiday, so wasn't really anybody around. There wasn't any daycare. As you guys know, Olivia goes to a early learning school / daycare, whatever you want to call it. They do a lot of early learning and stuff there. It's a great place. We really love the school, but they're not open on Memorial Day, which I find to be a little sus. Because I'm like, I don't know. It seems to me that like a lot of people get a lot of holidays that a lot of other people don't get, and then it makes me think like they shouldn't get those holidays. Now, admittedly, I'm appreciative that they get to have paid holidays, and I would encourage more of that. But it doesn't help be a little jealous that people are getting bankers holidays and stuff, right? As I've said before, I think it should just be a federalized holiday type system where everybody gets a certain amount of time off every year, similar to the EU, right? Yeah, it should look more like that. We all shouldn't be working 51 weeks out of the year. It's a bit much. Oh, Zipgun has an amazing good point. We did get to learn about the beetle with the blue butt. We're not really sure what that beetle is. Beetle with a blue butt at the Grand Canyon. Would that work? We might be able to look this up. Like, I think it's what it was. It looked like a giant bumblebee with a blue butt. Black-throated blue warbler. No. Yeah, we don't. Well, I guess we'll have to find. We'll have to dig into this. I didn't see any condors while I was there. You guys can't see what I'm seeing, so I'm trying to give you guys a auditorial walk through what I'm looking at right now. Bunch of pictures of beetles. They're not flying. Whoa, hold on. What was this? We might have something here. Darkling beetle? This might be it. No, these guys got stink bug. That's a stink butt. That's a stink butt beetle. Yeah, I don't know. I think the beetle will remain a mystery for a little while, even a little while longer, unless somebody in the chat like knows what is up, dudes. Some of you all might know what's up, and you'll be like, "Hey, guy, look at me clicking away into the chat. I'll tell you all about it." Is it not called preschool anymore? Technically, she's not into preschool until next school year thing. I'm trying to think. Hold on a second here. What is it? In Washington, children typically begin preschool between the ages of 3 and 4. So yeah, I mean technically it's kind of like a preschool, right? But it's more like it's an early learning center as opposed to a preschool. There's a difference, I guess. Here we go. Yeah. So she went to early learning up until 3. Or no, she went to nursery up until 3, and then she went into early learning. Then next year she starts preschool in September. So right now she's like something number 2 or something. Maybe she's preschool 2 or something, and then she goes into preschool 1. I don't know. There's all these differentiations because of their ages. They have to like keep them all age appropriate. Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but either way, kindergarten doesn't start for Olivia. My expectation was that Olivia was going to start kindergarten in September of 2023. Okay. I thought that she was going to start her school adventure September 2023. My friends, was incorrect because her birthday does not fall before August 31st, she starts 2024. So your boy over here, we're on the hook for another year, an extra year of daycare, early learning, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and it's not cheap. Should be clear. Guppy Girl says, trying to buy a house in the Seattle area at this rate, it feels like we'll never buy a house. It depends on the area that you're looking in. I would look personally north or south of Seattle. It really depends on where it is and what you're looking for. It is extraordinarily difficult to find a home in this area, though. I will tell you, it is not for the faint of heart. You got to have robust cockles, you know what I'm saying? You got to have some yobbles. You got to have some intestinal fortitude. You have to be... You got to chomp down on the bit. You got to chomp down on the bit. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's like directly in the Seattle area is going to get... You're going to get a lot less house for a lot more money. There could be a lot more competition. Right in the Seattle proper area. We moved, like, I think technically, I don't know. I don't know how far north we are. Like, at least, I don't know. Let's see. Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look. Let's go here. We go Googling, and then we go, directions to... invert this. There we go. Invert that to the Space Needle. Yeah. We're like 30 miles. 30 plus miles. Yeah, we're like 30 miles or 35 or 40 miles. I don't know how far. North of Seattle proper. So you do have to kind of move out a ways or move down a ways. Don't move across to the peninsula, okay? Don't fall for the ferry trap. You don't want to do that yet. You want to fall for the ferry trap to move across the water once you're retired. Once you're kind of done and you're like, oh, look at all this money I got. We don't need to go anywhere. Fall for the ferry trap then. If you're going to be on the commute, you're going to lose your mind. But yeah, the beetle with the blue butt, it'll remain a mystery. We'll look into it a little bit more as time goes on. Yeah. Zip says it was all good. She was a good VIP guest. She's unfortunately she's not a good VIP guest. That is my professional assessment. That she's not a great guest. She's 4. She's amazing, and I love her to death, and I have no complaints about her. She's just not a good guest. But speaking of guests, Green Room is open in case anybody needs to call in or wants to call in. Maybe you just want to call in and say hi. Maybe we want to call in and say hi, or maybe you got some stuff to gab about. We can definitely do that. I open up the lines. I forgot to do it earlier, so I did it now. And the Discord will be over here and remain open. Okay. The beetle could be the Gibbifer californicus. Let's see. Let's take a look. See, here's the problem. We didn't see them sitting down. They weren't crawling around. They were flying. Every time we saw them, they were flying. Hold on. All right, we're going back to the blue beetle conversation. Flying blue bug at... I guess it's just the Grand Canyon. That's where they were. Orange paper wasps, honeybees, black flies, tarantula hawks, stink bugs, beetles, black ants, monarch, swallowtail butterflies. Oh, here we go. Insects of the Grand Canyon. A whole book. Oh. Okay. 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 Oh, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. Ed Source. Smart Solution. Smart Solution. This is what we're looking at right now, guys. Boom. That's what we're looking at. There you go. Mayflies. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah. What's this? Okay. Endemic regions. Okay, it wasn't these guys. Oh. Getting some more interesting guys. Okay, alright. Bees. Look at that ant. This is a blue. This has blue features, but I don't think that's what it was. Do 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 do. Stingers, wasps. Oh, this guy's. He's Justin Schmidt. Look at his picture. He's got a bug on his face. I don't know if you guys can see that, but he's got a big, look like a cucaracha. Butterflies, snakes. Guys, this isn't a very helpful book. I mean, it's interesting. Henry Bates. Look at this guy. This guy was a champion. The guy was a straight up champion. Do out here. It's so hot that you turn into a cactus. Okay. Well, that was it didn't solve the blue beetle mystery. Okay. Well, written by these hombres. Okay. All right. What is going on?
Busting in.
Why are you busting in?
Can I have the truck key to get the car seat?
I don't have it. It's on the counter.
Emma.
It's on the counter, you little weirdo.
Oh. Okay. You have another guest here.
La Tigra.
La Tigra.
Yeah. Hi.
I love you.
Love you too. All right. Well, Vicky was here, everybody. Vicky was here. Apparently she needs the truck keys, which I left over where they go. So I don't know why. Captain Organization didn't look there first. The Oak Tree Hopper. All right, what do we got here? Let's look this up. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, those guys are cool. Yeah, I don't know what the blue beetle was, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. One of these days. Maybe I'll send an email to Hal. He would know. Hal would know. He knows all about the bugs. Look at this. Oh, whoops. Yeah, here's the question. Which one's desktop 2 and which one's desktop 1? Is it this one? Yeah. There we go. This is what we're looking at. Let's close this bottom up. There we go. Should we make it bigger, dudes? Make it like super big. Like this. Should we size it right over my face? There we go. Nobody wants to see this goofy mug. Actually, we could probably just cut the side off like this. There we go. Then we can just stay in this region over here. No problems. The Oak Tree Hopper is a very cool looking bug. This is out of this world. Where is this? I've never run into these guys. Huh. Good call, Aubrey. These guys are very interesting. What do they do? Let's visit this website. Let's see what this website has to say. Oak tree hopper. What is this cool-looking insect? Geographic location of the bug. Louisiana. I guess that's why I don't hang around Louisiana. Oh. They like to hang around oak trees. They're into it. Okay. That was like the least exciting website we've been to in a long time, guys. Least exciting website. Let's see. Let's check out this website. My Beautiful World. Okay. Immediately started out with deer. Okay, now we got some oak tree hoppers. I guess it's in the name. Yeah, I'm kind of an idiot sometimes, guys. Okay, so they start out funky looking, and then they get even funkier. Okay, all right. Very cool. Non-threatening to humans, so we're all good. We're all good with the oak tree hopper. It's not gonna bite your face, and either poison or venom you. So we're good with that. We're good with all that. We like all this jazz. Okay. Remove. There we go. Just remember, only female wasps sting. Good point. Good point. Solid. Oh, man, we lost all of our viewers. We started talking about wasps and stuff. We lost all of our viewers. Sorry, guys. We got a little sidetracked on bugs. Well, maybe it was the real estate talk. Honestly, trying to find a home that's good, that goes to a good school district, is what is killing us. Those damn kids. Okay. I can help with this. I can help with this. Are you ready? Is the guppy girl still here? Did they leave? They might have left. Oh, they're still here. Okay. You ready for a solution to your school district issue? Oh, my foot fell asleep. I'm sitting on my foot and it fell asleep. Yeah, I hid the keys by putting them where they go. Yeah, it is very clever of me. I do have to admit. The field guide says Arizona to California. It said Louisiana on the thing. Man. Oak tree hopper area? Zone? What are we looking for? Okay, Guppy Girl, we'll get into it in just a second. I gotta see if there's a zone here. Let's see. Our breathing planet. You know, it seems like these you really start to wonder about some of the validity of these websites that people make. Oh, Nabokov fan, I'm still waiting for exciting soil talk, honestly. Okay, yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. We got to figure out where the oak tree hopper lives. Range. That's what we need. We need range. Okay, in a point of fact, both species evolved endemic in an area that extends across much of the continent of North America. More precisely, though, most of them appear in quite specific portions of both the United States and the country of Mexico. Okay. So they're like kind of specific to zones, but this primarily extends through the coastal regions of Oregon, California, Texas, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and Nuevo Jersey. I think I'm saying that right. Yeah. So I guess it's a more coastal oaks, I guess. If you have that area, coastal oaks is what you're looking for. Coastal oaks, and you'll probably find one of these weirdos if you're in these United States. U-shaped swath. The coastal regions. Okay, coastal regions, oaks, you'll probably find them. Seems to be the breakdown there. 17 likes, but we lost all of our viewers. We started talking about bugs and real estate. Go figure. Probably play Risk later and see how many people we can get rid of. Plants are a wonderful rabbit hole to discuss. We could do it. You guys have to ask plant questions. Okay. I want to be clear. This show revolves around your guys' interaction. Like, if you guys aren't interacting at all, I could just sit here and be quiet. Now, technically, I could just sit here and, like, listen to stuff. We could probably do that. We'll probably get a copyright claim if we watch anything copywritten, but we could just, like, do whatever, you know. Yeah. Aubrey brought up the oak hopper, right? The oak tree hopper, and I'm into it. If you guys bring something up, I'm going to look into it. And Guppy Girl brought up real estate in the area, and it's something that I know a fair bit about, so we can talk about that a little bit. It seems like their biggest solution, or their biggest issue, is making sure that you're in a good school district. Now, depending on the age of your kids, this could mean something, this could mean nothing. If your kids are under the age of 6, I believe, if you put your kid into an early learning center that shuttles the kids to kindergarten, because kindergarten doesn't, I don't know if you guys know this, but kindergarten is only like 4 hours long. Kindergarten day length. They're only there from like 9 to... Minimum length of instruction time for a transitional kindergarten is... The minimal length is 180 minutes. So the minimal is 3 hours. And I think in Washington it is... I think it goes like 9 to 2, I think, or something like that. Now, if you're at work, you can't be taking your kid in at 9 and picking them up at 2. It's not the whole day. So the early learning centers take them, they have little buses, and they take them to the schools. Well, you can have your kid go into any school that you want them to go into. In Washington State, there is a Washington State school exemption to another district. So there is a, it's not the choice transfer portal, this thing. Yeah. So you can request your kids to go to another school district if it's like close enough or whatever away. Now, the reasoning for it can basically kind of be anything. It's like, oh, I work over there and I will be the primary form of transportation for my kid. So like one of them, so our one of Olivia's like second cousin, aunt, whatever you want to call her, is a school bus driver. Technically, we could put Olivia into that school district because the relative is a school bus driver. Right? So there's a lot of things that you can do to transfer the kids into a different school district in Washington State. If you're like, hey, I actually want them to be in this school district as opposed to the other one, like, oh, maybe, you know, whatever your reasoning is, it's pretty easy to do as long as you fill out the forms. So we were really concerned about it when we were buying houses because we didn't want to end up into one of the sort of non-functional school districts And it turns out it's actually like way easier to navigate around your kid being stuck in one specific school district in Washington State. I don't know about other states, and frankly, I don't care to learn about other states realistically, so don't jump down my throat and get mad at me if I don't have information on that. But you can definitely get them into other schools. There are multiple ways to do it. Like I said, one way to do it is to have them in early learning, and then you have a list of like the schools that the early learning center goes to, and you can have your kid go into that school district. You just have to fill out a form and let them know what's going on, and that's basically it. And it's just to avoid the you're like absent from the school district here. Yeah, so hopefully that helps you out. You said that's really helpful to know. We can finagle it. Yeah, you can shift things around, and I think a lot of that has to do around the fact that like our housing is very constricted here in Washington State. A lot of people want to move here. It's a beautiful place. The economic opportunities are really good. There's a lot of upside to living in Washington State, so I get it. We just need more housing built. Is basically what it boils down to. Okay, so the Arizona trip was quite good. We very much had a great time going to check out the Grand Canyon. I forget if we talked about this before. It was quite good. The flights were fine. Olivia did great on the flights. We stayed at a hotel that was in the past built by the Conservation Corps, which I want to bring back the Conservation Corps. I've talked about it a lot. No one seems interested. But I want to bring it back. A lot of times when I talk about it, people go, oh, yeah, that seems cool. But we'll see. The Bocop Fine says, I can't even find soil. Okay, here we go. Did you see that email? Art video to react to. No sound, no strike. What email? Did you send me an email? Oh, that's right. I think you did. Where is it? Oh my God, I have so many emails here. This is ridiculous.
Are you done?
What?
Are you still broadcasting?
Yes.
Oh,
Why? What's up?
I'm going to go get Olivia. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
no. I'm like, what? What's up?
Going.
Oh, you're going to get Olivia now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What's up with that?
They entertain each other.
Okay.
And it's weird. Just somebody else's kid that doesn't want to do any of my ideas. So, I gotta go pick up my buy-in partner. She helps with the buy-in to the activities. Yeah.
To the activities.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Back in a few. Poor Caitlin was in tears. Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry, we had a slight interjection there. Where did that email go? I don't know where it went. Maybe I have to go back. Oh, that's why. I get so many emails we have to go back further. I think we have to go back further, back in time. No, I got a Findig email. There's people, I forget. No, that was Luke. People wanted me to go to the Findig, and I think the Findig is like this weekend, and it just was not going to work. I was going to try, and it just wasn't working. I don't know. What email did you send me? Okay. Well, I'm confused. Needless to say, I'm confused. Oh, okay. Here's on here. Okay, let's find it. Let's search it. Nabokov fan 87. Okay, well, I got nothing in this email. Okay, weird. Let's look over here. Where's the search on this one? Okay, here we go. OV 87. My request can't be completed right now. Why not? Is this broken? Oh, my request won't let me do it. Not in this email. I don't know. Resend it, and then it'll be at the top. How about that? We'll do that. Joel, you into cars? Look like a real hot rodder. Sort of. I know a lot about cars. I know how to work on cars. I know how to fix most things on cars. I can do transmission swaps, brake swaps. I don't do a lot of like motor rebuilding because I just have never ever really done any of that. Because machine shops generally do that, and I've never worked at a machine shop. So, though I've rebuilt motors, I've taken them apart and put them back together. I haven't done any of the honing or machining or any of that kind of stuff because, like, when I used to work long time ago, many years ago, I used to spend my weekend days, which was Monday, Tuesday, working at a automotive shop, doing maintenance work on large fleet vehicles. It's kind of where I got my start doing doing a bunch of large oil changes, transfer case, transmission, servicing transmissions, changing the filters out, all that kind of stuff, lubing the whole chassis, checking the brakes. I know how to resurface rotors, all that kind of stuff. So I can't do all of it. I would never claim to do all of it, but I can do pretty much most automotive work when it comes down to it. And I was, like, my first car was a 56 Ford. To be clear, it was a four-door Fairlane, which looked like this. Let's find my first car. 56 Ford Fairlane, if we spell it right. But we need the four-door version. Yeah, it looked like this. It's exact paint job and everything. Wait, what? Pop-up cookie notice. Get out of here, cookies. No cookies. Cookie settings. F. No cookies. No cookies. No cookies. Confirm my choices. There we go. Hold on. Now we need we need access. We need access, guys. Let's do the smart selection again because last time I did the whole thing. Look like this. I don't know anything about this car dealership, but it is in Arizona. This is this was my first car. Same paint job. Light blue on dark blue. Although I definitely had different wheels. A lot more damage to it. But I rebuilt most of the stuff. So let's see. Like, I forget what I did to it. So the whole top end of the motor was redone. New radiator, water pump, thermostat, all that kind of crap. All that stuff was done. New master slave, all new brake system into it. This is 25 years ago. 20 years ago. 25 years ago. Yeah, I was like 18. Had to replace like all of the vacuum stuff. All the vacuum stuff was replaced. I had like electric wipers. I had to convert the whole thing from vacuum assist wipers. I live in Western Washington. It rains a lot here, and vacuum assist wipers is a very bad idea. But like where the radio knobs were is what controlled the wipers and the lights and stuff, because it was the best I could do at 18 years old was to do it that way. So like, let's see. There's a lot of pictures here. Where's the interior? That's the back seat. Here's the dash, all steel dash, bros. So right where the radio was down here is where I put all the new accessory stuff, because the radio never worked. The radio never worked in this thing, and I never bothered to put a radio in. I actually took all the wiring for the radio out, because it was all rotten and gross. But I didn't have this cool seat cover. Man, I probably would have kept that car if I had this swirly seat cover. That's hot. I like that. But yeah, this was the first car I ever had. Call it a sleeper, whatever you want to call it, because you just stuff that thing to the floor and it would go away. Oh yeah, this is all converted to a 5-liter. Look at that. This actually would be like a really cool car to pick up in real life, because this would drive real well. Let's see what else is done in here. Yeah, this has new brakes. Yeah, all the same kind of crap I was doing. Whoever this was did this, but they did a total motor swap. I didn't. I still had the 318 Y block in it, I believe, is what motor was in that. 318, right? 318 Y block V8, right? V8. How much are these? I think that's what motor was in there. Although it's saying that the 318Y block was only produced 57. So I might be wrong. Might be wrong on my recollection of what motor's in there. But yeah, no, I don't really do car work stuff now. But I definitely have in the past, and I know my way around. Yeah, that motor was definitely swapped to a new motor. Let's see. Dango Boycon says, sorry, not been on for a while. How's the co-op expansion going? It's going great. My father-in-law is going to come help this week on the expansion down there. We're going to get a bunch of stuff done. The expansion itself is like, we're in the downhill now. We're just navigating all the downhill stuff. Like, a lot of the major things have been completed. A lot of the stuff has been figured out. A lot of the systems sort of are skeletoned in place. But the store's just not ready to open yet. And the idea would be to get things running for a couple of months before we actually open it to the public, as opposed to in the past. A lot of places, they open up a store and they're like open the next day, you know. And you guys know a lot about aquariums and fish and that kind of stuff. You need to really establish the aquariums before you're doing a bunch of introductions and removal of fish on a regular basis. So a lot of that stuff is going to be important as time goes on. I don't know, man. All I know is what works for me with my water and how I run my tanks as far as aquasoil is concerned. Oh, okay. So, I know that there's a lot of nonsense on YouTube. I get it. I get it 100%. Everybody has a different idea of how to run their aquarium. And to me, that's fine. Not a problem. Everyone can do whatever they feel like doing, whatever they're finding working well for them. If things are going well, that's great. That's great. If everything is going great for you, awesome. Keep doing your system the way that you're doing your system. One of the issues that I have with sort of a lot of the weird, trendy, I mean, let's just call it trends, I guess, instead of calling it misinformation, is really discouraging to see, because I know what it's going to do to the newcomer, right? If you're somebody that is new to the hobby and you see a whole bunch of people competing over whether or not, whether or not you need filtration, whether or not you need 48 lights over your tank, whether you need one light over your tank, whether you need to constantly use dechlorinator or put soil in your aquarium or put aqua soil in your aquarium. What's going to end up happening is that the newcomer is going to get extraordinarily discouraged by a lot of these systems that are sort of being promoted by extremely experienced people who, in my opinion, should know better, right? If you're somebody that has been in the hobby for 10, 20, 30 years, you really should know to caveat your advice or whatever it may be to understand that the advice that you're giving is for the newcomer, right? And it's the same kind of deal. I can directly relate this to a personal experience in my life, something I experience on a regular basis, and something that constantly needs to be reminded in recovery, right? In recovery, the focus in recovery is for the newcomer, right? And the reasoning behind that is that people that are a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years into their recovery journey, let's call it a journey. If you're that deep into your recovery journey, you are not what would be considered to be in an emergency, right? You're not in an emergent state. You're not, oh my God, we got to put out the fire immediately. This guy's losing his mind. Whereas the newcomers are. And the reason for that is the newcomers do not have the ability or the toolbox to deal with all of the stuff that they have going on. This parallels to newcomers to the hobby. When a disaster starts to happen in an extremely experienced person's aquarium, it is very, very easy to make a change, adjust to what is happening, know right away what you got to do. Maybe you got to set up a quarantine tank, move everybody over there because something happened, right? Something happened. Oh, we got to immediately move everybody over to a quarantine tank. We got to get them over there, get them dosed, figure out what's going on, get this tank, maybe even just dump this whole tank and start over now that all the fish and shrimp and snails and everybody are over here getting medicated. Somebody that's experienced can handle that no problem, okay? Somebody that has 20 years experience breeding fish, breeding shrimp, growing plants, doing all this stuff can easily deal with a disaster, right? Somebody who is 3 months in, is super excited, has read some stuff, and has never gone through a bunch of the problems that you can have in this hobby are not ready to deal with the emergency, right? They don't have the experience of knowing and quickly being able to react and go like, oh, I've got to do a 50% water change today. I'm going to do a 20% water change tomorrow. Oh, on the third day, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, blah, 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 whatever it may be that you're doing. Somebody, excuse me, I have like a catch in my throat. Somebody that's experienced can make those changes and move on pretty rapidly and not be discouraged by, oh, I lost a couple of fish. Ooh, oh, man, lost a couple of shrimp, something like that. Oh, well, somebody that's experienced would know, oh, I'm going to make these changes. I'm likely to lose a couple. Something might happen, but we're going to recover. We're going to get back into breeding again. We're going to get back. This tank's going to recover. Things are going to happen. Somebody that's new, the snowball effect is going to start happening. There's a thing going on. They might not even recognize that there is an issue going on. They probably won't, as a matter of fact. And if they notice something that is going on, they might not even know what that thing that is happening is going on. They may say, huh, that's kind of interesting. Huh, that's kind of interesting. Huh, why is he doing that? I don't know. That's weird. They might not even know that the snowballing is already begun, right? As things snowball and just get worse and worse and worse, and then everything dies in the tank, the next thing you know, you probably have somebody that is not only are they upset in a sad way, they might be upset in a mad way, because they might be all pissed off that they got a bunch of bad advice from somebody. They don't even know what happened, but they will likely end up in that state because it's normal for people to get that way. Then they'll move on to, well, what can I do? They might find out there's really nothing that they can do. There likely won't be any recourse from the bad advice that they got. There likely won't be any, nobody's going to make this right kind of situation. And that's going to be discouraging to somebody that's new. If we're not going to be giving advice to the newcomer, what's the point in giving advice out, right? That's where I end up landing. I personally do not recommend people put soil into their aquarium. If they are beholden to the idea that they watched somebody like Dustin's Fish Tanks, for instance, who was yelling about dirted aquariums for the last, 10 years. And they go, I watched that guy do it. I can do it. It's not going to be a big deal. He says it's not a big deal. Well, I don't personally know what goes on that channel, for instance. But my advice, if you're going to do that, is why don't you read the book from the scientist that started that whole idea and actually literally wrote the book on it. Not figuratively, literally wrote the book on it, right? If you read the book, it's the Wallstad method. It is in my Amazon store, but I still have to look it up because oftentimes it disappears. Actually, it's not called the Wallstad method. It is called the Ecology of the Planted Aquarium. Now, I'm always wrong whenever I try to recall the date of when this came out. I thought this book came out in the 70s, but it may have come out in the 80s. When was the first printing? The 4th edition just came out in 2023. You can actually get the paperback again, which is great. Here is the sponsored link for it over to Amazon. If you buy it through the link, heads up, I get a commission. You don't have to buy it through the link, but that is the link for it. There's nothing that you have to do other than click through the link and buy stuff. Federal Trade Commission requires that I tell you that so that you know what it is that you may or may not be signing up by clicking on links. Now, the first review, let's see the first review. Oh, we don't have the first review, but there is a review here from 2008 where they said, I have the first edition of this book along with the dozens of others on tropical fish and nearly 40 years of experience. It's only since reading The Ecology of the Planet Aquarium that this hobby has really become satisfying. First of all, I'm a lazy aquarist. I hate spending my weekends changing or testing the water or cleaning filters. If you want live plants, there is dosing of ferts, fancy substrates, CO2 ejection, and every 6 months you need to swap out your aging light bulbs for new brighter ones. None of this stuff is inexpensive or any fun. Now, this review continues on, but it's from 2008. That's how long this book has been around. It's basically been around at least as long as Amazon has the whole time, right? I highly recommend this book if this is what you want to learn about on how to do a dirted aquarium. It gives you very specific ways to do it. And you want to follow the recipe in this book. And when I say recipe, it's because you're going to be operating within a very specific set of conformed application of this type of aquarium. Like, you're going to have to follow the steps that are highlighted there to you. Now, a recent anecdotal story about somebody who essentially nuked their freshwater aquarium because they added a soil. And this is just an anecdotal story from a local fish store. But somebody added a soil to their aquarium that it said that there is a fish application for this soil, and there's fish on the bag and all that. It's for hydroponics. It's actually not for in an aquarium, but as I was told, they had 8+ parts per million ammonia from this not from an aqua soil, but from a standard soil that they had put into their tank. They put sand and gravel over the top of it to cap it. And that's one of the biggest issues that I've always found from people that have done soil in their aquariums, from a personal standpoint and from around the internet. I've been around for quite a while. I've seen this story over and over again. It's nothing new. And the bigger issue is that the soils are not meant to go underwater and be submerged, right? They're going to have a tendency to have a lot of things break down into them. If you get Diana Wallstead's book, read her book, you'll understand why these things are an issue, right? They're going to be a big issue, and they're going to be a big issue for a lot of the inhabitants of your aquarium. If this is something that you're not concerned about, feel free to keep throwing random stuff into your aquarium and killing all of your fish and then wondering why all your fish die. But I seriously recommend people to read that book and go from there, because if you don't, you're going to continue to be lost in your aquarium hobby. And then those people end up going away. They end up leaving the hobby altogether. And that's the thing that really pisses me off, is that there are new people that could really enjoy this hobby that get just flat out blown out of the water, blown out of the hobby, and they're just not going to be around anymore. And it's like, man, that is a bummer. Instead of feeding somebody's curiosity, somebody's creativity, somebody's engagement with a hobby that I find a lot of solace in, I find a lot of joy from owning aquariums, growing plants, breeding fish, breeding shrimp, doing all that stuff. And then they don't even get a chance to like allow that to flourish within them because somebody gave them the advice to just throw some dirt in the aquarium and it'll be fine. It's just a real bummer, and I don't really like that. That's one of the biggest issues. Plato's Cave. You don't know what you don't know. You only know what someone tells you. See a video of something you like. Watch a bunch. Repeat what they do. That's how people get started. If not that, then they simply go to the store and have a bowl with a beta, then run into issues, and then they try to learn. Which is one of the big reasons why I'm sort of opposed to the idea of, you know, people giving out the advice and then like not really highlighting like where their advice is coming from or like how they came to that conclusion, and it's a real bummer. Yeah. Gardaki's Playground says, I have a soil only tank with no cap. It's actually easy to maintain. It's California blackworms. It's a California blackworms and cherry shrimp tank. I deal with cladiphoria from the mossball incident. Never a problem. So one of the issues with soil, right, is that, and like as Gardaki says here, you have a soil tank with no cap. It's fine. It's totally no big deal. But we don't know when you say you have a soil tank. What is it? Where did the soil come from? Was this demineralized or remineralized ahead of time? Is it compost from somebody's garden? Is it dirt that you got out of your backyard? Is it from the side of a freeway? Is it from a rock quarry, right? It's like if I just said I have rocks in my tank and then just left it at that, right? Like it doesn't give a real description of what is actually in my tank and what is actually happening in my tank. So that's like kind of the big issue, is that I saw it for years and years and years, and like trying to talk to people like, hey, just start your tank over. Yes, there is a way to do dirt, but like if you're not educated in like what is going on, you can really, really, really run into a lot of problems. And also not to mention like previous to the pandemic, you know, companies weren't beholden to really tell you what was in their product, right? Since the pandemic, I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's a lot of leeway with things getting produced nowadays that have seemingly skirting around a lot of the very minimal regulations that we have, especially in the U.S., around products that are getting shipped out, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with just especially the last few years, right? Now, if you do go buy some dirt and put it into your garden outside, there is like basically zero chance you're going to see a negative effect because that dirt that you have is outside. It's in the air. None of the chemicals of what's in the dirt, the chemicals or the compounds or the inorganics or the organics or anything that's in that soil is going to interact with the air. It's not going to get up into the air. It's not going to become airborne. It's not going to cause you a problem. So that's why a lot of stuff can just get shipped around, right? Like it's not specific. You end up using it. You end up being the person that's liable for it, right? It's like, oh, well, we put a warning on the back corner of the bag all the way down here at the bottom that says, don't put this near shrimps. And it's in like 4-point font. It's so small you need like a magnifying glass to read it. Or it's in, you know, or it's some kind of like liability disclosure of like, once you purchase this, you're responsible for whatever you do with it, not us. And so it's really, that's really kind of the big issue is like, I know at one point I bought some substrate that was actually for baseball fields, basically is what it's for. And a bunch of it worked really well. And then some mysterious chemical interaction happened, and it killed a bunch of stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's like, oh, you're using this product inappropriately. We didn't say you could put it in your fish tank, and it's like, oh, yeah, I guess that's true. You didn't say that. Right. And it's like, if it was outside just off of second base, in a baseball field, really wouldn't have been an issue. No one would have ever even have known that was a problem. It would have never caused a problem with the grass. It would have never caused a problem with people. It would have never been an issue. But since I had put it into a closed liquid system, it did end up being an issue. Yeah. Guppy Girl says, I've been in the hobby for 10 plus years. Set up a tank last year with a little bit of soil. There was always little problems here and there, and I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah, and I think that's really the thing that boils down to it, is that, like, even if you have, like, let's say you set up a tank with all of the things that I've advised over the years, like, hey, try this, try that, try this, try that, try this system, da-da-da-da-da. You're still going to have some problems that are going to need to get fixed, right? That you're going to have to mediate, right? You're going to have to fix some of these problems. And you're going to have to figure out how to do it. If you're starting off from a starting point of like, well, I put EcoComplete in here. Well, EcoComplete does have a disclaimer that says it is safe for fish tanks. Okay, you're already starting you're already starting at a good point, right? You're already starting at a point where the company is like, yeah, we said you could, right? We said you could put it in there. So you're already starting off from that point of like, okay, somebody's already verifying that this is relatively safe for your aquarium. Okay, cool. Step 2. Most of what is in there, in that bag, is like known to be generally safe or purposefully added because it is safe to put in to your aquarium, right? Okay, so we got that. Okay. Then on top of it, we have thousands and thousands of people using this exact same product. if thousands of people aren't having the same issue that you're having, maybe you're the only one that's having this issue, now at least you could go, there's a possibility that we could rule out the substrate as to being the issue of what is going on here. Well, let's do some water testing and find out what's going on, right? You do some water testing, you start to find out what's going on. If you were to have something like a reading of like 10 parts per million ammonia, you'd be like, oh dear God, there's something insane going on here. This is going to kill all my fish. This is going to kill everything in the tank, right? And if you had that, well, is this repeatable from a product standpoint? For instance, like if you were to test some other bags of EcoComplete and go like, yeah, but there's no crazy ammonia in any of these bags where I got it from, which are most likely the same batch. You go like, we could probably process of elimination, like, eliminate this as a possible culprit. But if you're starting out from a bag of a composted mix, right? Now, for instance, I used to live in Tacoma, right? I don't live in Tacoma now. I used to live in Tacoma, but I don't. In Tacoma, there is a, I don't even know what you want to call it, like a service. So it's called Tagro. Tagro. If you guys want to look it up, you guys could look it up yourselves. Now, Tagro is short for Tacoma Grow. Tacoma Grow is an award-winning environmentally friendly product, or blah, 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 blah. Proven safe and effective, and awarded the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's highest rating for use in landscaping, vegetable gardens, indoor container gardens. All natural Tagro products are made from a blend of pasteurized wastewater byproducts called biosolids and other weed-free gardening components. Okay. By the bucket or truckload, Tagro customers say their gardens grow faster, lawns grow thicker, and trees grow taller. I can verify that all three things I found to be true. Vegetables and flowers grown in Tagro have earned more than 120 ribbons at the Puyallup Fair since 1992, and our Biosolids program has received national awards, including the Environmental Protection Agency's first place award for the best biosolids program in the country. Okay, so to break that down for you, they're taking biosolids from the wastewater, processing it so it is safe and effective to use in your garden. We use Tagro for a bunch of stuff when we live down there because you can either A, get it for free if you go and shovel it yourself into your containers and drive it back. That's free. You can take as much as you can carry. You can have it delivered for super cheap, which we had a dump truck dump off a load one day for like $200 or something. And it is processed for the safety of, and I don't want to misquote what they said. Yeah, for use in landscaping, vegetable gardens, and indoor container gardens, right? None of those things, none of that highlights use this for your aquarium, right? It is safe for all of those human applications, but it is not safe for an aquarium, right? And it's not rated to do that. So you can kind of do the takeaway from there is that, like, well, if Tagro, Tacoma Grow, is processing all of this stuff, and it's wonderful, and they have big giant piles of it, and you can go get as much as you want and all that stuff. It's cheap. It's easy. Is it soil? Yeah, it's technically soil at that point. Would I put it in your aquarium? No, absolutely not. Well, why not, guy? It's free. Okay, well, as the reasons illustrated before, there's not even a disclaimer that this is appropriate to be used in your aquarium. So you're already starting off on the back foot because you're like trying to save money or whatever, right? Now, I understand that Amazonia, Fluval stratum, whatever aquasoils are out there, Brightwell, all that stuff, it's not exactly cheap. But a part of what you're paying for is for the research and the assurance that you're not going to poison every single thing in your aquarium. Eco Complete, whatever it is, a part of it is the assurance that you're not going to put poison into your aquarium or something that's going to break down and cause undue damage to the creatures that are in your aquarium, in your care, right? Now, I know that that's like upsetting to some people, is that like, well, we don't need to play into it that way, but that is kind of a big part of it. A big part of it is that like, wherever you get this mysterious soil from, you throw it into your aquarium, and then, all of a sudden you're like super angry later on because like it behaved the way that it was intended for it to behave, right? You just used it in a different way that it wasn't even designed to do. It's like trying to use a welder on plastic and then getting super pissed off that like it didn't work, right? It just ruined the plastic, and you're like, well, no one ever recommended you to do that. And it's like, yeah, but I did it, and I just figured it would work. It's like, okay, you made your bed, now you got to sleep in it, and that's unfortunate, So that's a lot of my reasoning behind like I don't recommend this soil, is because like this story came up recently. It was fresh in my mind, and it was something I wanted to talk about. But the reason for that is like it's happened hundreds of times. I've seen like so many emails, messages from people, comments on videos like, hey, why don't you recommend this? Oh, is this the link I was looking for? The green aqua? Was I looking for the green aqua video?
1,000.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was.
Kilometers.
We were looking.
Which we traveled.
We did. That's right. We traveled 1,000 kilometers. Should we just watch the green aqua video? It's not even loading very fast.
Driving around, taking naps in the car, trying to catch up on sleep because jet lagged all the way out here in Europe. It was definitely worth it though. I would highly recommend checking out this shop. I would definitely check out Green Aqua's YouTube channel. Definitely check that out if you get an opportunity. They have some awesome tutorials, and they
Oh yeah, here's a good example.
That up if that's the case.
So when we're hold on video. So when we're looking to replicate something like this, right? When we're looking to replicate something like this, the advice that you get from everybody is like, use the right equipment, test your water, use the right soils, check your rocks ahead of time to make sure that your rocks are legit. Make sure that your lights are going to feed the plants, right? They're going to allow them to photosynthesize. If you don't allow that, and if you don't like take all these things into account, you're probably not going to see the success that you're seeing from places like Green Aqua, this is where I shot this. I think we were here like 5 years ago or something. 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's crazy this video only got 3.5 thousand views. It didn't even get 10,000 views. But that's how my channel has always been, right? My channel has always experienced the limited success, right? So, and I think it's probably because of reasons like today, where I'm like, dude, why? Why do you want to do this super cheap thing that you're probably just going to end up failing and then end up quitting the hobby because you're discouraged, right? Like, and then people go like, oh yeah, you were right later on. And it's like, okay, well, hey, where's your fish tank at? And like, oh, I got rid of it. Oh man, it's like, I don't want to be right and you quit the hobby. Like, that's not my goal. My goal would be to encourage people to keep working in a way that like, to keep working on the hobby in a way that would lead to them feeling like they're succeeding, right? Like, I want people to be like feeling like they're succeeding. And if they are succeeding, when you are succeeding, you generally keep doing a thing, right? It's crazy how much like better my footage is now than it was back then. This is all just like slightly out of focus. I don't know if you guys can notice that, but I do. Scott Winkler says, "What up, all? Happy to catch a live about the Oliver book. It is awesome. It is awesome. Yeah. Which is weird if you read like Oliver Knott, the guy who's been, who's flown around the world to study aquarium setups, all that stuff. Like, ask him if he does dirt at aquariums. Like, no. You're like, oh, why not? Oh, just because no, it's a waste of time. You're like, oh, okay. So why isn't anybody taking his advice, right? And so it's kind of a weird thing that like we're all kind of dealing with in the 21st century here is that like oftentimes like a YouTube personality just influences people so hard that they just end up doing whatever they're telling them to do, and it's unfortunate. At Scott Winkler, can you answer some questions for it? Answer some questions about it for me. I don't know how much of it is writing versus photos. I've been flipping through it myself, and it's probably like 50-50 writing and photos. I mean, there's a lot of photos in it. There's also a lot of writing in it. So, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that helps out. But we'll see what Scott's takeaway is if they get into typing. Corvus, do you get to see new species discovered often? No, not very often. One of the big reasons behind that is that like it takes a lot of time to scroll through all of the periodicals to find out like what new species are coming up, what's not coming up, and honestly, like I've tried to lean on other people to help like feed me articles and things. And it just really hasn't panned out. Like it hasn't panned out to have like extra people being around to help like feed me information and send me new things that are going on. Like Nabokov fan just sent me an email today. And we've got a couple videos here that are probably worth watching. One of them is mine. So it must be good. And the other one is a really cool, actually it's a really cool painting video. I'll probably end up looking through this. Oh, they're using zip ties. They're using zip ties. Okay, so, they're using Q-tips. Okay, well, I'll probably end up watching through that video. But that's the thing. I've definitely been trying to rely on other people to like feed me interesting articles and stuff like that, and it hasn't really panned out. So I think like one of the bigger issues is like, and I was talking about this earlier, and frankly, like I profoundly appreciate all of the people that are involved in my little tiny micro community here. And I'm super appreciative of the patrons. I'm super appreciative of the members. The members and patrons keep my internet turned on, like paying for my music license. Like I had to pay for my music license, which is annual. So if I don't pay annual, it's like $500. If I pay it annually, it's like $360 or $340 plus some filing fee or something. It's stuff like that is everybody supporting to do that, help keep the Discord running, all that kind of stuff. And the bigger issue is like, I do not have time to sit back and spend, 30 hours a week researching on like what's going on, with new discoveries, like new fish, new plants. And by the way, like most of that stuff is all like fairly guarded by the fact that it's just not all that popular, right? Like, so there isn't a ton of money behind like publishing, I found a new placo in Ecuador and here's the species identification for it. Like there isn't a ton of money behind that stuff. Currently as is like you can pretty much just look through the YouTube trends of like what YouTube channels are doing good in the fish community. Ones that are like trash talking other channels, which I find to be just like a boring waste of time. There are ones that are constantly setting up a new project like every day, which I believe honestly ruined the construction industry, and it will probably ruin the fish industry long term. That people have like zero patience for like how long a project takes to actually do, because they watch a 7-minute video of a tank getting set up. Yeah, it just doesn't. I don't think it's adding to. I don't think it's adding to the hobby. I really don't. But it is what it is. Like, you can just look at all the trends of like what's popular, and as I've mentioned before, like the bigger things that I want to do are do deep dives into people's like fish rooms, like who they are, what information do they have to share. Which obviously takes time, money, and resources, all that kind of crap. Flying somewhere isn't cheap. Taking time off to fly somewhere isn't cheap. Filming, editing, putting all that stuff together, publishing it, all that crap, it's not free. And, the bigger issue is like, I have a couple hours throughout the week to like sort of work on content. I have a couple hours to do a live stream to interact with you guys. Which is why I'm here on Monday, right? It's Monday right now. I have like a million projects to do. I'm here talking to you guys because this is what, the main thing that I want to do. I'm taking some of my time out of my work week to talk to you guys. And honestly, I wish I had more time to work on YouTube stuff. It is sort of discouraging. You go like, man, the other day, somebody had posted like a 13-year anniversary to YouTube, and I was like, oh, wow, they've got 9 million subs and 85 employees and all this stuff going on. And you're like, damn it, man, I've been on YouTube since 2008, and yeah. So sometimes that stuff is a little bit discouraging, but it's just a fact of like where I'm at, and I just have to keep like getting to do like incremental things throughout the weeks, and that's fine. I'm just gonna keep doing it. So although I did buy a lottery ticket, so maybe we'll win the lottery tonight, and then we'll have plenty of time for fish tank stuff. Yeah, I saw a news thing on a science website reading about sharks. Turns out crazy big snakes are helping the rats in the Everglades to grow in population, spreading diseases. It's interesting. Yeah. There are a lot of bad things happening in Florida environmentally, which, once again, they tried to legislate some things to try and, like, curtail the damage down there a little bit. But, of course, it was just, like, struck down by, of course, it just got struck down by, like, these big money lobby groups, basically. And so we'll see what happens as time goes on, but I am not optimistic. Seeing the damage that is going on down there, the ecosystem and the environment in Florida is probably a goner. I mean, at this point, that's realistically. Want to buy me a copy? Maybe the rich YouTube famous Corvus can. I had a second guess buying a copy myself, to be honest with you. I was like, $70, I don't know. But because I was like, I don't know. I mean, I could put $70 somewhere else that's more important at this time. But I was like, it is kind of like a one-time availability type deal. And if I do go to Europe, I guarantee you Oliver would give me a copy of the book. I mean, he gave me a copy of a different book when I was there before, so I almost guarantee it. Oliver is a very nice guy. He is very generous. All of the time that I've spent with him, I've had a great time. I've had a great time with him. Him and Chris Lukup alike. Those guys are both fantastic dudes, and I hope to spend time with them in the future. We'll see how that shapes out. Being on other sides of the planet make it slightly difficult, so we shall see. I don't know, but hope to see them again someday and spend more time with them. So, but man, Chris and Oliver are like walking encyclopedias of knowledge, and it's amazing. It's great. And it is always great to be around them, and then just be like, man, you guys, what? How do you know that? So, but great dudes that are just grinding all the time. Also, to the effect, like I was actually talking about this over brunch recently, like I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something. We were talking to somebody that they were very interested in sort of the European model, right? Because they were talking about maternity leave, paternity leave, time off, compensation, all those kinds of things, like their healthcare being covered. And you start to realize, like, wow, there are a lot of opportunities for guys like Oliver and Chris to sort of take a slightly more creative route without being 100% beholden to nose to the grindstone 100% of the time on laboring for a company, for instance. When they go, well, if you're going to switch jobs, you aren't going to lose your health care. If you switch jobs, you aren't going to lose a lot of the benefits that you already have in place, like affordable daycare for people that live in the EU, for instance, in all the countries in the EU. I mentioned it earlier because we were just kind of talking about daycare, but it's like the daycare costs here is where I live for, and admittedly, it's a really good school. Because it's my daughter, I don't want her to go to the crappy school and save like a very minimal amount of money, but it is close to $1,600 a month for daycare for Olivia. You tack that on to mortgage, car payments, health insurance, all these bills, and you start to go like, there's a lot of fear around being an American and going like, can I try to do this creative program? Like, I have an idea. I want to create something. I want to do it. But that might mean that we just end up homeless. We have no health care. We have no, yeah. And I go like, I'm not going to make that decision. I'm not going to do it. I can't sacrifice like my family's well-being and our future, right? Especially considering like we've had pretty serious reminders about that with a lot of death around a lot of friends of ours have passed away, especially over the last year and a half, 2 years. It's been pretty intense with that. My friend Rob died recently, and he was 45 years old. And you just kind of go like, yeah, man, I don't know. Now is the time, sure, but also like, I don't know. Olivia has a lot of years ahead of her, and I don't know if I want to ruin her life by me wanting to only invest in like the creative endeavors that I want to do, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I go like, and I talked about this before. It's like, man, 70 members and 92 patrons. It's like, that's amazing. It's great. That is not enough to just go, okay, I can spend 100 hours this week working on YouTube. It just isn't there, So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why I'm sharing probably way too many personal things today, but that's just how I'm feeling. It's Monday. So it's just it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing. Speaking of that, we have a local family that is needing us to watch their daughter, who is Olivia's friend. And I just heard them enter the building. There's a lot of ruckus going on. And I would imagine there's going to be nothing but much more ruckus here in the next little bit. So we'll see how long the show lasts today with now multiple kids here. Sadly, FWC has a bad reputation with enforcement, federal wildlife something, with respect to different pet hobbies. So while I'm much more friendly to the idea of more regulation, I am skeptical of it coming from FWC. Yeah, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of skepticism surrounding regulation and government entities and stuff. Hey. The daughter broke in and then got yelled at. Not a big yell, but oh, now Vicky's here. Vicky Pants. Oh, art supplies. Supplies. Yeah, supplies. Art supplies for the kids. They're going to do some drawing, it appears. Yeah, so I understand there's like a big skepticism around regulatory bodies and things like that, but I think that skepticism has sort of like led us to where we are now, right? Is that the common pleco is choking out a lot of freshwater waterways. The snake issues in Florida, the iguanas. Is it iguanas or Gila monsters? I think it's iguanas. The wildlife is being decimated down there by invasive species everywhere you look. Now, the skepticism is what initially led to the we can't regulate any of this stuff. Is what sort of led that, right? That knee-jerk reaction to we can't regulate anything because it's going to be the worst, right? And you're like, well, if you had ripped the Band-Aid off, 30 years ago, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be the current issue now. But if you had done that, there probably would be some other issue now that we'd all be focusing on, because that's generally how humans relate to the world, right? It's like, if there's an issue, we're going to focus on it. If there is a non-issue, you're just going to completely forget about it, or something that's been resolved is going to be completely forgot about. I did recently see somebody who was posting about how climate change isn't real, global warming isn't real, and one of the issues that they had highlighted was, well, they said that there was a hole in the ozone, and now the hole in the ozone's not a big deal. And I was like, yeah, because internationally we took direct action against the chemicals that were causing the hole in the ozone. We stopped releasing those into the air. The ozone started to heal back up, basically, right? So we mitigated the problem before it became a total decimation, right? And then here we are 20 years later, or 30 years later, or whatever it is, and they're going oh, they must have just been lying about that because it's not a big deal now. And it's like, you're totally going away from the fact that all of this regulation was put into place, as even international regulation, in order to have mitigated the problem that had begun within the ozone layer, right? And now, because that's not an issue, now we have to sit around and talk about why batteries in cars are a much better solution than a bunch of tiny little power plants burning gasoline or diesel as they drive around, right? So it's weird, and it's sort of never ending. And so, I mean, needless to say, it's like, the sad thing is I'm not I'm not personally going to be affected by Florida just slowly but surely eating itself alive, right? I'm not. Chances are, if Florida sank into the ocean tomorrow and everyone was had to flee Florida, even if a percentage of those people moved to Washington, Like, I would be unaffected. I mean, the United States would absorb the 19 million people that live in Florida. Florida population. Let's see. Oh, 21.7 million. I thought it was 19, but whatever. It's 21.7. That 21.7 million people would just get absorbed into the United States. I'd probably meet one or two of them, right? And so, like, that's the ultimate, like, sort of litmus test of, like, well, why should I care? And it's like, well, technically, I shouldn't care, right? Because I probably am not going to be affected by it. But I do care because it's going to cause a bunch of undue harm that could just be avoided, right? And we talked about this a while ago when they tried to pass legislation to regulate the import and export of fish into the United States because they want to basically create a regulatory body that's going to inspect, make sure that the right fish are coming in and out and stuff like that. And without a specific funding, they're not going to be able to do that. It's just not going to happen, right? And so that bill got struck down, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? And you just kind of go like, oh, I guess I'll shrug and just be like, I can advocate for what I want. I can advocate for what I think is the best way to hopefully in the future, like, we're all cumulatively making better decisions for what would potentially look like a better future. But, when push comes to shove, we all end up like sort of having to make decisions about our own personal space, right? Is that like, we're going to invest in real estate because it probably is the most it's the most secure investment for my family's future, right? Going to continue to invest in real estate. Going to continue to work at a job. Going to continue to put away for a retirement. Going to continue to invest in like a 529 for Olivia's future. I'm going to continue to make those decisions and do that stuff the best that I can and work at my job as diligently as I can to earn a wage so that I can put away stuff for my family, because that's going to be ultimately long term like the most important thing for my individual life, right? And it's unfortunate to do that, and I can advocate for the things that I'd like to see on a bigger scope, but I do honestly at the end of the day I have to kind of turn my back on it and just go like, yep, hopefully that works, but I can't do that now. It's not something that I can immediately interact with or even realistically be worried about, because I'm probably not going to be affected by the environment just being completely trashed in Florida, right? Maybe oranges will be more expensive. I mean, a lot of things are more expensive anyhow, right? The things that I can like directly advocate against is like Ron DeSantis passed a bill. And I want to, I don't want to like misquote this. He assigned an anti-illegal immigration legislation to combat Biden's border crisis, which, is just doesn't even exist. So first off, the border crisis doesn't exist. It's nonsense. But, yeah, here it is. This legislation will require private employers with 25 or more employees to use the E-Verify system for new employees, which I agree with. They should be doing this. This bill also expands penalties for employers who fail to comply with the E-Verification requirements, including the possible suspension and revocation of employer licenses and the imposition of specific penalties on employees that knowingly employ illegal aliens. Where the fine is, I'm not sure. Where is it? I believe it's $10,000 fine. I think it's a $10,000 fine. I don't know. I'd have to find the fine. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Enhances and penalties for That, yeah, up to a $10,000 fine. Where is it? Oh, no, here we go. So if you fail to use the E-Verify, it's $1,000 a day, which who knows how long that accrues for. If they're found to continue to employ, it will be $10,000 fine. And so what's ending up happening is that now they're having a giant labor shortage in Florida, which means a whole bunch of stuff's not going to happen anyhow because they just really are not going to have enough labor to get things done. So they're not going to be able to get things done for a long time. They've sort of ostracized a lot of the people in their community that are doing the work down there. And so the thing is that people would say, well, I like Ron DeSantis. I like his laws. I like what he's doing. And I go, okay, yeah, that's cool. So the bigger issue there is that I go, well, what laws were passed ahead of time in order to not run into this problem where you're suddenly going to remove a big portion of your labor workforce, right? And they go, well, nothing. We're just going to find people, and then they'll have to figure it out. And you're like, okay, so you didn't bolster any of the programs for people to get a work visa or to get onto the E-Verify system or to get into that stuff. And so you go, oh, well, what do you mean? We're supposed to do something ahead of time? And it's like, yeah, you should be working on the border reform. You should be working on reforming border policies, reforming what's going on to get people in, to do labor, to get things done, to have people properly be tracked and stuff. But nope, just going to start finding people. And so a bunch of people quit, and it's just going to be a problem down there. So I believe it's two different like fundamental ways to like interact with, governing policies, and I think when it comes to like the fish hobby, it's like you need to mitigate those species from coming in before they're even there and being a problem. Because the initial response was, well, we bring them in, it's not a problem, don't worry about it. Then there was a hurricane and they all got out and now they're out. Right. And so, that's honestly going to be a bigger issue, especially moving forward, because they're all out already. And you can't just be like finding people after the fact. That's why I was trying to correlate those two things together. Scott Winkler became a member. Oh, my God. We got a new member today, 71. Now we go to 71. I think that's how that goes. We got a new member, Scott Winkler. Welcome. Welcome to the membership club. You can join up on the Discord. If you go to the community tab on my main YouTube channel, it'll give you the link into the Discord, and you'll be able to come over to the Discord and yell at us on a regular basis in a nice way. Post memes, comments, chat back and forth. You can do voice calls, whatever you want. Yeah, political differences aside, I love this channel. I'm still happy to be here and discuss stuff. That's how this is supposed to work. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that I'm going, to be clear, I'm not saying Ron DeSantis is nothing but a garbage person. I mean, nobody has 100% bad ideas, right? It just doesn't, it's not true. I'm just using this specific sort of reactionary legislation that happened in Florida that does correlate to the Florida conversation we're having about the fact that all the pythons and iguanas and invasive fish like the plecos and the lionfish and all that stuff that just aren't even supposed to be there are loose and causing big problems down there. And I think like the human element is going to eventually be the big problem down there, is that if the environment is damaged to a point, the Everglades are already so fragile. They're so low-lying, so many low-lying areas in Florida and whatnot, especially with hurricane activity and all that kind of stuff, is that there is a big possibility, as was illustrated here in the Northwest where I live at Yellowstone when they introduced wolves back suddenly the river started moving around. And they were like, dudes, what's going on with this river? And it turns out that putting wolves in suddenly moved the river. And they're like, what the hell? And it's because the wolves were eating the deer and elk that were sort of influencing where the river was going. And you're like, wait, these two things are connected? And you're like, yeah, these things are connected. And my thought process sort of jumps into the, well, if the environment is that bad in Florida, and there are so many weather events down in Florida that could end up causing a much bigger problem for the humans that live there, I'm like, dude, this could be a terrible disaster. And it really does, if it doesn't affect, like I said, the things don't affect me on a personal level because I'm not there regularly interacting with it. I mean, I live in the Northwest, right? Like, it's not, no one's going to care. Yeah, the sugar industry has really damaged the Everglades. They recently passed legislation making it even harder to regulate the sugar industry. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those issues. Like, we need industry to exist, but we also need the environment for us to exist. So yeah, it's like I said, it's multifaceted, and I think that if you don't have some type of regulatory body who is regularly interacting with these decisions that are being made, like it's okay to bring this fish, it's okay to not bring this fish, and whatnot. I just don't see an end in sight that is going to be happy for really anybody. That's the unfortunate part. Okay, Vitra is here, and unfortunately, we've reached 3:09 p.m. And if you know anything about 3:09 p.m., I start to turn into a pumpkin because it gives me exactly 1 hour and 45 minutes to accomplish the things I need to accomplish before I need to start making dinner, because Vicky has a meeting that is set in stone at 6 o'clock on Monday nights. So I want to thank everybody for coming out today. We had a sort of rambling live stream, which is normal around here. That's normally how that goes, because you guys chat stuff and I get off onto weird tangents and we ramble around. But we did talk about some stuff. If there's anything you guys have, questions, comments, concerns, complaints, any of that stuff, you can leave it down in the comments below. You can hit the like button. You hit the subscribe button. You can become a member whenever you want. You can become a patron whenever you want. And blobbity blobbity boobity boop. Boobity boop. Boobity boop. With all the boopity and the scoobity and the roobity and the doobity. You know what I'm talking about? Boobity boobity boop. Yeah. But special thanks to Scott for becoming a member today. Very much appreciate it. Livingston Custom Fabs just showed up. I was working on our metal stand, aquarium stand video the other day, and I was thinking about you, Jason. Can't wait to release that video because I keep doing stuff to it, but it's inappropriate to release it right now because then people will be like, well, where's the tank setup video? Well, I don't have the water or the drywall done, so we can't do that yet. So we keep moving forward, and we're doing what we're doing, and we're doing what we're doing. All right, I love you guys. Talk to you later.